my God, it's off the charts at surface. Mine 500 tons a day, we process 500 tons a day, but this project's gonna throw off a lot of cash, in the millions, in the multi-millions of dollars, running 45% zinc, 0.7 ounces per ton gold, 5% copper, 460 grams of silver.
It all sounds so good. What keeps you awake at night? Where's the fly in the ointment?
Well,
Hey everybody, welcome back. My next guest is Malcolm Bell. He's the CEO of Nova Pacific Minerals, trading on the CSE under the symbol NVPC, and in the United States under the symbol NVPCF. Malcolm, welcome.
thanks, James. Love to be with you.
You bet. Malcolm, you are working on one of the most interesting, fascinating deposits in Canada as far as I'm concerned, and I can say that with a degree of authority because I've been following this story since 2012. You're developing the Lara Project, which, correct me if I'm wrong, has some really impressive grades in copper, silver, zinc, gold.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's off the charts at surface. I think we've got an intact, what we call black smoker at surface, which is running 45% zinc and 0.7 ounces per ton gold, 5% copper, 460 grams of silver. And there are many zones like that in the deposit.
Wow. So you've got, these are historical press released drill results you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is in a volcanogenic massive sulfide system. Give us an overview. How is that important to the context of the geological setting? What's the history of VMS deposits in the world's mining value?
Well, that's a good question, but I can give you an example of a mine that's just up the geological structure from where we're sitting. It's the fifth largest polymetallic deposit in Canada. It's called the Myra Falls deposit, and that's got zinc, copper, gold, silver, and lead in the exact same proportions as we have on our project. Now, that's the fifth largest massive sulfide deposit in Canada. So it's really important. It's the most important massive sulfide deposit in Western Canada as it stands. And as I say, it's called the Myra Falls deposit. And our project is what I would call the daughter of Myra Falls. They started with 2 million tons, and over 40 years, they continue to find more ore. We have 2 million tons in our project, and when it was discovered, the operators didn't want to continue drilling outside this main zone, so they kept drilling it for the next 8 years, and they drilled over 350 drill holes into the deposit to outline it. And then they also went underground with a decline and pre-production access. So we have the benefit of about $30 million worth of exploration that's been done in the past.
So your plan is not to necessarily continue exploring at expense to the shareholder. You're actually going to start mining and producing ore from this thing, but you're not going to be milling it. There's no cyanide circuit involved. It's a very clean operation from what I understand.
That's right. There will be no tailings ponds either. We contract mine the deposit. We mine 500 tons a day. We bring it to surface. We crush the ore, and then we put it through what's called an optical ore sorter. And that technology has been developed over the last 10 years. And what it does is that once you crush the ore, it goes onto a conveyor belt, and these high-speed computers map each individual rock that's going along the computer, and then they blast it with XRF and laser technology, and they identify which rocks are waste and which rocks are above the cutoff grade. Rocks that are wasted, it drops away, and the ore above the cutoff grade is retained. And that goes into big sacks, and we ship that directly out the end of the conveyor belt. And so mine 500 tons a day, we process 500 tons a day, and we do that every day for 360 days a year, and it's got a 10-year mine life right now, so we don't really have to do any more exploration. But this project's going to throw off a lot of cash, in the millions, in the multi-millions of dollars, and from that, we will continue to do exploration on the property. We've got numerous targets left to go. This deposit's open along strike and to depth, and we've got about 8 kilometers of strike, and we expect that because VMS deposits occur in clusters, we'll be tagging into a few more of these deposits as we explore in the future.
So when does all this mining get started?
Well, we have a drill permit in right now to confirm the original grades and tonnage estimates, as well as generate additional quantities of ore. And that project should start, I would imagine, after the 1st of March, and we would be finished in about 2.5 months after that, drilling 24 hours a day with 2 drill rigs. And by September, we'll have a new mineral resource estimate. We'll apply for a mining permit. The mining permit should take 12 to 18 months.
Okay, so this is going to start producing cash flow next year.
Next year, that's correct.
Which is kind of record speed for a mining project, though this one has been under exploration on and off for over, 10, 20 years?
Yeah, 20 years. They were planning to put it into production in 1992. However, metal prices were so low that they weren't able to do that. So they kept it on care and maintenance. And then what happened in 2022 during COVID, the geologists were all working from home and they forgot to file assessment work on the property. So the property came open for staking. A prospector in Vancouver Island, he acquired the property by staking it, map staking. And because I've known him for a few years, I was able to source this project from him. It's quite an achievement, being able to acquire a property like this. There's none around. We're not in northern British Columbia where we have high-speed logging access. We've got power across the property. We're 14 kilometers from the nearest port, and we have all kinds of infrastructure, motels, restaurants. So it's very low-cost exploration program.
You bet. And it's going to be paid for out of cash flow from your mining activity.
Yeah, the future exploration will be. And our CapEx is probably around, somewhere between $5 to $7.5 million. So we're not going to suffer dilution as we go forward.
Now, you talked about Myra Falls being the 5th largest VMS deposit in production currently. What are the chances that Lara turns out to be analogous to Myra Falls in size as well as in sort of mineralogy?
Well, there's a good chance for that. As a matter of fact, I've got a couple of PhDs that I work with. And, historically, there's been a number of reports written on this property that suggest that with a little bit deeper drilling that we could easily, I shouldn't say easily, but there's a good chance for us to find a 40 million ton deposit.
VMS deposits have a habit of increasing in grade and size at depth, correct?
That's correct. And along strike. They occur in like pearls on a necklace, right? You find one, you go a little bit further, you find another one, and so on and so forth. I should say that Myra Falls has got 250 kilometers of underground workings.
Wow. So really, it's an appropriate analogy. You've got a jewelry box when it comes to all the different metals, and you've got this string of pearls laid out across Vancouver Island. Now, in terms of the immediate concern that jumps to mind is that there's going to be some concern for environmental issues, though from what you're telling me, the absence of any sort of cyanide or chemical processing requirement sort of negates that environmental concern to a large degree.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And no tailings ponds. Previous operators completed an environmental impact study during I guess it was about 2012, and there were no issues discovered in that environmental impact study. So we're in good shape there. And as far as First Nations are concerned, we've got good relations with First Nations, and we're fully into reconciliation and providing accommodation for First Nations. So we're deep into that, and I think it's a win-win for both sides.
Sure. And in terms of the cash required to put all this into production, where do you stand in your cash position, and what do you need to do to raise funds?
We're fully funded for this 10,000 meter drill program, and it's a flow-through program. And we're expecting that this drill program going as fast as it is and as full speed as it is, that we're expecting the potential to raise small financing at much higher prices.
Okay, this all sounds so good. What keeps you awake at night? Where's the fly in the ointment?
We haven't got a fly in the ointment quite yet. We always have our eyes open for the flies to see if they come. But, good management anticipates that. And I have 50 years of mineral exploration. My senior partner, Dal Browson, he's got 50 years experience. And, to Dal's credit, he's the director of the largest underground zinc mine in China, which is one of the probably the 5th largest zinc mine in the world. He discovered it 40 years ago, and so he feels that this has just as good a chance as that project. They started with 2 million tons. We have 2 million tons. They started out of generating cash flow. We're going to do the same. We've got the experience, and we recognize the potential of this project, and so do a lot of other heavyweight geologists that we're doing business with.
Fantastic. Malcolm, we're going to leave it there for now. I do wish you luck, and I look forward to hearing more about this in the future. Thanks for joining us today.
That's great, James. Thanks a lot.